So the three fingers, the part of the track, it doesn't look like much on camera, but we've heard all week from the drivers how important this one corner is. I sound like I've lost my voice, and if you've been watching the live stream, you'll know exactly why. This is the highlights package of the A finals, and some fantastic racing action coming out for you. Enjoy it. This is the A finals of two-wheel drive Euros from Fehring. We can see in the first leg of the A final, Lee Martin in these bright orange and white car gets a good clean start, nicely over the jumps to the back of the circuit for the first time, and behind him it's David Ronnefeldt in the number 2 car from second on the grid. That's the car that you just saw being marshalled there in the background. David Ronnefeldt from second on the grid, dropping right down to the back of the field. Now we can see Lee, about a minute into this race now, has pulled out a massive gap over second place, and Neil Cragg in the number 6 car works his way up into second. Then we've got Hupo running immediately behind him. And that looks like, yeah, we've got David Ronnefeldt work his way back up to 4th place. So very, very quick car David's got beneath him and works his way back up into 4th place. We've got these 3 cars here battling for that second place. Former world champion Neil Cragg, multiple time European champion Hupo Honigel, and superstar of this event anyway, David Ronnefeldt. That's 2nd, 3rd and 4th we can see on the screen at the moment. Going around the paving stones there, that's Hupo getting very, very sideways there, losing traction in the rear of the car. A little bit later on in the race now, Hupo dropped back a bit. And that's a massive mistake there from Ronnefeldt coming over those triple jumps there, and that involves Peter Pinish as well. Let's take a look at that in slow motion once again from another angle, and we can see, yeah, they just clipped the jumps completely wrong. Peter Pinish getting involved there and has to wait for the services of the marshal. The marshal's like, oh, there's other cars coming in there. That's Jon Neumann and Paul Bradby getting involved, and the marshal just about getting his car back on 4 wheels again, but that's put him right back down the field. Meanwhile, Lee Martin has taken this race really easily now. He's had a massive lead, cruising around. He's onto his final lap now. To be honest, it's been a little bit boring out in front, but we've had the action behind for second place. But Lee Martin has kept it on 4 wheels the whole race, pulled out a decent gap, out in front on his final lap, cruising around across the paving stones, over the bridge on the final lap of the race. Defending European champion. He's going to be looking to get it done here in leg number 1, across the triple jumps for the last time, take it nice and easily, and crossing the finish line, Lee Martin wins leg number 1. And pulls his car into the pits now, back there to be serviced by his mechanic, and Lee himself standing up on the rostrum there. Even he looks a little bit bored by that run. A good, confident first leg from Lee Martin. So Lee Martin knows that if he wins this second A final, he will defend his European title. So a good clean start up front once again, and Lee Martin is my but Lee gets it very wrong coming off the big tabletop jump this time. It was Ronnefeldt who got that wrong in the first leg, and Lee gets it wrong in this leg number 2, and that puts Ronnefeldt out in front, Lee down into second place, and Ronnefeldt's pulled a small lead out already over the British driver. They come across the bridge for the first time. Ronnefeldt out in front, Lee running in second place, and we come round the end of the lap hitting the triple jumps front, and it's Ronnefeldt that makes a mistake now. Ronnefeldt gets those triples completely wrong. That puts Lee out in front, Jon Neumann running second, and Ronnefeldt down to 3rd. So here we are a bit later on. Lee is being challenged by Jon. They go across the back, and Lee again gets that tabletop jump wrong. The wind catching his car, making the landing not very safe. He hasn't lost the position, but he loses out time to Jon Neumann, and then going across the fingers completely gets that wrong. Jon is through into the lead, and Ronnefeldt has closed right back up in second place. So Jon Neumann out in front. David Ronnefeldt now in second place. David had a bad first leg and is looking to make amends for that and challenge for potentially the overall win here. So he is now chasing down Jon Neumann, and Jon makes a big mistake at the end of the pit straight. It looks like he just rolled the car going through that tight left-handed corner. So that puts David Ronnefeldt out in front. Jon Neumann down to the second spot, and Neumann immediately attacking him once again, coming off the edge of the corner tabletop jump. Tries to find a way out the inside, but isn't a way there. The car's sliding sideways as they go across those really low traction stones. Now a little bit later on, and back again, and Neumann closes right up behind Ronnefeldt, touching his rear bumper as they come across that triple jump. That Ronnefeldt really not liking that section of the track, and Jon Neumann right behind him once again as they go across the tabletop, but gives Ronnefeldt some breathing space. As this time it's Jon who lands badly as they get big air going through that tabletop, but Jon straight on the power once again and right back up onto the rear bumper of the Swedish driver. They go through the paving stones, back across the bridge, through the infield section of the track. Jon trying to find a way past, going across those triple jumps again. Oh, and once again, it's that part of the track that really catches out Ronnefeldt, who rolls the car, and that gives Jon a massive lead. You can see Lee Martin down in 3rd place. That's second, third. Neumann has checked out. So Jon Neumann out in front now. Oh, and this time it's Jorn who gets the landing wrong coming off that tabletop jump, getting the car sideways, and once again Ronnefeld closing right up onto the rear bumper. This time it's down to Ronnefeld to apply the pressure and Jorn to try and defend the position. Coming across the bridge they go through the infield section, that big S bend in the middle of the track, and then onto the hardest part of the track for the Swedish driver anyway, going across the triple jumps. Neumann catching the pipe on the inside but doesn't lose any time, so Neumann is out in front. Ronnefeld you can see right behind him now in second place. Lee Martin still holding third, but is a little way behind this leading battle now. So we get big air coming across that tabletop jump. Both of them landing nicely. Ronnefeld gets more power coming off the tabletop. The corner tabletop makes a good run on Jorn, but no room to pass there. Oh, gets very close to them as they go onto the paving stones. Looks up the inside off of them. But again, not being able to make a move stick. Jorn slamming the door shut in the Swedish driver's face. They come across the triple jump. Ronnefeld, still not getting a perfect landing off that. Loses a bit of ground to Jorn, and Jorn breathes a sigh of relief as they go back down the straight for one more time. Across the ski jump, and there we go. Ronnefeld closing right up on him, and Jorn gets it wrong, landing off of that tabletop, proving so tricky, as well as the triple jumps down in front of the rostrum. Across the three fingers, that was the part of the track that we looked at earlier on, but now they've got that sorted. It's the other parts of the track they need to worry about. Ronnefeld out in front, coming across the bridge, round the S section, the infield. Here we go, onto the triple jump for the last time. Here we go. Oh, Jorn goes up the inside and crosses the line first. Jorn takes the win in leg number 2. But if we look at a replay of that jump in the last section of the on the last section of the lap, we can see that Jorn in fact lands on the grass section outside of the white track markers. And we've spoken to the EFRA referees, Fran Heinsbrook, and they have looked at the replays of the videos, and they have ruled that pass does not count because Jorn was off the racing track when he made the pass. Therefore, they're going to reverse those positions. So David Ronnefeld takes the win in leg number 2. Jorn Neumann moves back down to second place by the officials. Lee Martin in third. That puts about 5 drivers in with a shout going into the final leg of the A final. So in the third leg of the A final, once again, Lee Martin getting a good start. We come across the big jumps at the back of the track. Is anyone going to make a mistake this time? Lee lands it nicely, as does David behind him. So the first 2 cleanly through those jumps onto the infield section across the 3 fingers. Lee Martin already extending a slight lead across the rest of the field. They go across the paving slabs, across the big bridge in the middle of the track. So Lee Martin again extending his lead over David Ronnefeld, who's running in the second spot. David Ronnefeld got the win in that second leg game final, of course, so if he wins this one, he'll be European champion. And in front of him is Lee Martin, makes a mistake on that corner tabletop, so that puts David through into the lead. David through to the lead, Lee down to second place. They slide sideways going across the paving stones there, then back around and over that tabletop bridge. These 2 drivers really racing for the European championship. They've both got 1 win. So here we go across the triple jumps. That's where Ronnefeld made mistakes in the last few legs, and he makes mistakes again in the same place on the track. So Lee Martin now through into the lead. Ronnefeld back to second place. Lee Martin popping a wheelie. Here's a slight bump going down that back straightaway. Across the big jumps on the back side of the circuit. Lee Martin out in front, Ronnefeld running in second. Once again, Ronnefeld closing right up on his rear tail. Oh, Lee runs really wide going into the paved section of the track, but then returns the favour, gets back past Ronnefeld as they come off of the paved section. And then Ronnefeld gets caught up on the inside piping, and that puts Jorn Neumann right on his tail in third place. We've now got a battle for second. Ronnefeld no longer attacking Lee Martin for the win. He's now got to defend from Jorn Neumann, and that's how this battle has gone on for many, many laps. And once again, they're going across those triple jumps. Ronnefeld not getting it right, and that puts Neumann up into the second spot. So a good run here from Jorn Neumann, finding the third leg of the A final. He's really racing against Ronnefeld, as we saw in the second leg, and it's now Neumann's turn to make a mistake. They come off the big tabletop, and there's Neil Craig right behind him in fourth place, looking to attack. Neil has a good result in the first leg of the final, not a good result in the second leg, but meanwhile out in front, Lee Martin, nice and clear of the field. It's onto cruise mode once again for Lee Martin, defending champion. This is how it sort of went down in the first leg of the A final. Behind him, we've now got the battle for second place. It was Ronnefeld against Neumann, but Neumann rolls it as they go through the stony section of the track. That gives Ronnefeld quite a clear second place, and Neil Craig up into third. So Neil Craig from 6th on the grid, strong run in the first leg of the final, and now up to third in this final A final. But it's all been about this one man. Lee Martin got the job done in leg 1, and he's now out by himself in this third leg of the A final. Let's forget about the second leg. It wasn't great for him, but defending champion, 2-wheel drive electric buggy, driving his orange and white car. They come across the 3 fingers in the middle of the track, under the bridge for the last time, going round the paved section of track, back across the top of the bridge. Lee Martin out in plenty of clear air. The British driver going to come around here, clear the triple jumps, and Lee Martin is going to win for the third time in the row the European Championship. Lee Martin, two-wheel drive European champion 2012, and look at how relieved he looks after that second A final. You can see the relief on his face there. Lee defends his European title successfully once again. He did it in France, and now he's done it in Austria. There's a big congratulations there from David Ronefeld, because everyone now comes around to congratulate Lee on a well-deserved European title. Let's go and hear from the top three finishers. That was three very interesting A finals, certainly. The first one, slight incident from David on the first lap. You had quite a clear lead, a fairly easy win for you in that first leg.
Yeah, the first one was good. Everyone said it was boring, but I really like them boring ones. So as long as I'm at the front of it. Yeah.
And then that second leg, just talk us about the mistake on going through the first few laps.
Yeah, I mean, straight away the wind was really high, and then we went over the jump. My car went sideways, so I had to kind of slow down and save it. I was back to third, and then tried to push a little bit to catch. Made a mistake, and the marshaled it, but put me straight back on my roof. So lost like double the amount of time I needed to. Eventually got back to third. So I mean, it wasn't ideal, but I salvaged a half decent result out of that one.
Well, I guess third place in a European A final is a pretty decent result still, and then that last A final, what was the pressure like?
Yeah, I mean, I got away at the start, and at the start you kind of, as long as you do the first lap, you get your head down, you can do some laps and you're right. And then they started coming back at me, so you get a little bit nervous, and then
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You can't let it get too bad, and then the last few laps you have slight nerves, but luckily I had a bit of a gap, so I could drive a little slower, but yeah, you get nervous. More or less, as soon as you finish, you kind of break down a little bit. But
well, enjoy this one, and you might have thought it was boring, but for us, it was absolutely fantastic. Congratulations. Enjoy your beer and party along tonight.
Cool, thank you very much. Cheers.
David, second place overall at, your first European Championships in two-wheel drive buggy, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it was pretty cool because 2 weeks ago I became the national champion in Sweden. So I have good confidence to go here and make some results.
Well, it was three fantastic A finals. Talk us through in particular that second A final, your battle with Jon Neumann.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, he like cut the track just a little bit, but I couldn't say anything if they placed him like first. So, but I was lucky then, and in the A3 I was like just taking it easy when he crashed. So I won that second place. So
you say that the third A final, you were leading for a little bit of it. You and Lee had a fantastic battle about halfway through the race, but then looked like you just sort of dropped back a bit towards the end.
Yeah, like the small triple in front of the driver's stand, my car is just not perfect because like the front end just lifts up all the time. So I need to be very patient every time I go there. So that was my spot on track where I'm like lose the first place. So, but. Overall, I'm so happy. Talk us through that first A final where you really were challenging right at the front of the field. You had a great start and then just kept your head down and kept on with the job.
Yeah, I just kept going. I mean, I wasn't the fastest car out there, but people kept crashing and just keeping on its wheels and keep going, and got a lucky second, and I'll take that.
I think it's more than just luck. I think there was a lot of driving skill in there as well.
Well, it was at work, when the track's really hard and when final starts, it's so close, anything can happen. You just got to keep yourself in the game, and see what happens.
Well, with the action finished on the track for today, the drivers turned their attention to a different sort of action as a majority of drivers heading off to the after-race party, one of the biggest gathering of drivers we've seen perhaps for 20 years in electric off-road racing. Fantastic atmosphere and the drivers reflecting on a great day's finals. Behind those top three drivers, Jon Neumann picks up fourth place, Peter Pinish finishes in fifth, Hoopo Honegal in sixth, Tom Cockerell seventh, Darren Bloomfield in eighth, Paul Bradbury in ninth and Rene Trauner in 10th. So we spoke about one feature of the track, but it turned out to be these triple jumps here that were actually the deciding factor in those A finals. Congratulations to Lee Martin on defending his European title. Thank you very much to everyone for watching along for all our coverage all week. We hope you've enjoyed it. We've got more coming up tomorrow. Four-wheel drive practice starts then, but for now, we're off to the party. See you tomorrow.